Okay, so this is 8 weeks into my worm bin experiment, divided worm bin. I started with a half pound of worms. I'll get to the inside in a second. But what I started to do about maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, there was like a week or so where there was just tons of little baby worms coming up to the top. And probably about 5 to 15 a day I would take and just put them in a separate container here from an old ice cream container that I put duct tape around to make it darker. And I thought I'd have problems with being too wet, with being such a small space, but it's actually been pretty good. Only the first few days I had to drain some water out, the corner like that, but it's been pretty self-sustaining since then. I'd put probably about a handful of vermicompost in there because it's nice and wet. They seem to like where it's nice and wet, and they really haven't tried to, well, there they are. You can see them right there. But pretty much for the past 2 weeks, they weren't kind of crawling around too much. They're staying down there. I'm about to put some coffee rinds in a little bit, but that's how small they're. There's probably about 70 at least. I'd say 70 to 100 of small worms like that size in here, and maybe I'll probably give it a stir too. So I get to the others. With the bigger container here, I always like to kind of jiggle it a little bit and then carefully take off the sides snaps, because the one time I'd snapped it really fast and there was a worm underneath there that got cut in half just because of that. And as always, I always like to check the lid to see if there's any baby worms on it, but mostly just a few dried turds. And well, there's one there. We'll go ahead and see if we can resuscitate him. Where's my water bottle? Okay, so there's a little white mite there. Okay, so I gave him a little squirt of water resuscitate. See how they get caught in a little thing of water. That's the only other baby worm I see here, so I'm actually just going to put him back into the mix. Okay. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is, you can see all the castings on the side there, and there isn't too much water in the bottom, otherwise I would just squirt it up like that. Just check for some worms. But I'm going to go ahead and mix this in some seeds of some stuff growing in it. I don't know if those were the kiwi seeds or something. See all the castings down at the bottom, but the level's been getting lower and lower. Every 4 or 5 days I've been having to add more and more of the bedding. And I know I said in the last video that I don't like the shredded stuff, the machine shredded, but as long as it's separated before you wet it, it doesn't come out too heavy. So I'm going to put this camera on a tripod, toss this all up, and mix this back in, and then you can see exactly what's underneath there, because I put a bunch of food under here a couple days ago. Looks like it's all gone, so that's why they're probably crawling around left. First thing I'm going to do is going to wet this down. Sides. And I'm going to grab some on this side. You're not going to see it in the camera, but the vermicompost. See all that? Worms in there. I'm just going to mix this all up. They seem to love to hang out in that compost down at the bottom. But I'm going to stir this all up and hopefully not disturb them too much, but you can also see whether the bottom is compacted or it's too dry at the bottom. pour some water through there at the end. Might be easier. I'm just trying to mix it up a little bit. Get some air into the mixture. Definitely could use some, a little bit of water, not too much, but I'm actually going to go ahead and put some of this new bedding down at the bottom, just because it looks like it needs some more. I'm just going to squeeze that over here. And just mix all that up. Yeah, that's a little bit higher, a little better. We'll do that. I'll soak some more of this. So the divider is holding up pretty good. It's bulging a little bit now that I just straightened it back up, but I might try to do one that's 2/3 over, just to give me more space, because I started off with a ½ pound of worms, and so I'm probably still not gonna be too crowded if I just put them back here after I harvest them. I got some more. I'm still gonna add some more. Just pour some water straight through here, but squeeze that out, fluff it out, and that way they're all nice and covered. And these are some coffee grinds. I'll put a little bit in the small bin. You see here. Don't drink too much coffee, but when I do put them in here. Coffee can make the bin smell, but I'll put this over here. Just put it out like that. Now eat the filter too. Cover it up real good. And put some fresh bedding. And cover that, keep that from smelling up. And there you go.